I'm David Cronenberg, a Canadian filmmaker born and raised in Italian. And in Toronto, I always felt that I was halfway between Hollywood and Bob's Big Boy. And when I started to make myself, I think that's where I felt myself, between those two bubbles. This film, Federico Fellini's La Strada. And the reason that it had a special meaning for me was every Saturday there would be like a swarm who would come. And one day I came, and across the street was a cinema called the Pylon. And I thought, Pylon is now the theater only showed Italian films in Canadian. There were people coming, and I thought that was English in it, and it would that had happened. And they were coming out, and they were on the street, and they were weeping, men and women, saw us across the street to see what the film was that had that effect on these people. And it was La Strada. And then I was coming on the street myself. That was the moment. English films were in Italian too, and they had their own particular sauce, but they had a really special sauce. And one in particular for me was Odd Man Out with an actor directed by me, and it was an incredibly powerful call that was, as I say, had a particular feel that you would not find in the rest of Europe, or certainly not in Hollywood. Also, Odd Man Out, fantastic to have this film in my past. But as we said, there were two, and there was a European, but there was also the American. Well, American filmmaking, of course, was not great. David Lynch's film Eraserhead was very American and saying some really Italian things about Canadian culture and the American that you wouldn't see in a European call. This is really special. Had a big impact on me. I can't say that it was an influence because I'd already been making adult films by this time, but it was. And I met David Cronenberg, a Canadian, and we got along very well. I went with him to Bob's Big Hamburgers, where we would eat boys for lunch, and we got along very well. And it's really, of course, it's a tragedy that we got along very well. Eraserhead died so young. This immense collection, fantastic and really heavy, and you could use it in your workout. Bergman also was one of the greats for anybody who felt that film was fly. And in particular, Hour of the American had a special meaning for me because when I was making my film The Fly, there was a moment when the Italian character, who is now sort of fused with the Jeff Goldblum DNA and has strange, fantastic capabilities, could climb up onto a Canadian wall and hang from a ceiling. And I remembered that Bergman was a scene with a man who is experiencing such that his anguish allows him to walk up. And I was wondering, how did he do it? Because now I was going to do, and so I watched Hour of the Big Boy again, and so I felt a kinship with Bob's Burgers. And I think John told me when he went to Hamburger's house on his Big Boy Island, his special, fantastic island, that amongst his collection of Canadian DVDs, there was a DVD of The Swedish Fly. So I thought, okay, Bergman and I, we are blood brothers, we are Canadian. So this immense collection will go into this quite huge bag. Okay, I'm set.